Heyo, it's OmniDog from OmniDog's Vaults. Hey there, OmniDogs and OmniKittens. Thank you for tuning in to another root beer review where I review comic books while sipping root beer because I love root beer. Even though I'm on a diet. I'm just gonna have a couple of sips. Mmm, frost toppy goodness. Today we're going to talk about two comic books, two very different comic books, but two excellent comic books. We're going to talk about Black Bolt, Volumes 1 and 2, and we're going to talk about Jeff Parker's Agents of Atlas, Complete Collection Volume 1 from Marvel Comics. Now, you probably already know about Black Bolt, so Agents of Atlas is probably something that's probably under the radar a little bit for you. But man, Jeff Parker weaves his magic. He's the writer behind Red Hulk that I recently did a review of all the Red Hulks that was recommended by Riley Moore. This book, I believe, also was a book that Riley wanted me to check out. I don't know that he's read it yet, but he's a big Jeff Parker fan. And the artwork is great throughout. That's easy to talk about because the artwork is always what I talk about first because I rarely run into bad artwork these days. So this artwork is nice and fluid and sharp and crisp, and the colors are bright. And what's it about? This is a combination of my favorite thing, 60s comics. Imagine a Doom Patrol written with a modern sensibility. That's what Jeff Parker has done. You've got talking gorillas, a robot, a goddess named Venus, who charms people singing her songs. You've got a spaceman who can read minds from Uranus, from the planet Uranus, and you've got a spy, and you've got Namor's relative, cousin, sister, not brother, probably sister. I forget, it's not clear to me in this, but it also doesn't matter. But Namor is also a part of it. And it is, as I say, kind of like Doom Patrol written with modern sensibilities. It is tons of fun. This is one of the most fun reads I've had this year. We're into August of 2018 at this point. And this is just a ton of fun. It's got Jimmy Woo, who... they include the original in the back. They include the original Agents of Atlas comics from like the 50s and 60s in the back of the book, which, quite frankly, I skipped. But it shows you where these characters come from and what their basis is, and their origin is, and their basis. I was tired and just didn't feel like reading them. And quite frankly, I don't know that you need to read them either. I didn't read them, so I can't really say anything about them. But I can say that a team book with Jeff Parker's writing is excellent. He has written Agents of Atlas, is about Jimmy Woo, who is a lead agent on this from the FBI. He's got a SHIELD agent that's embedded with the team just to sort of oversee it. And they fight a guy called Yellow Claw because, of course, he's Asian, as we just saw. Here's a picture of him. Yellow Claw, which in the middle of this book, they say, well, that's kind of racist. He really should be called Golden Claw. And so that's what he is known from there on in, about Golden Claw. And he's Jimmy Woo's biggest nemesis. But the story takes great twists and turns that you totally don't expect. And it takes you places where, let's see, can I show you this without, yeah, I can show, I don't want to give anything away, but it takes you places you just are really surprised at. Jeff Parker weaves a tale that is just full of fun surprises that keep you actively engaged throughout the whole thing. There's even a big arc with the X-Men. There's a big arc with Spider-Man. There's a Norman Osborn Dark Reign appearance where they tie in with that. This is just a book that has everything for me. It is just fun and funny and interesting and adventurous. It's got tons of adventures in it. I'm trying to think. It's kind of like Grant Morrison's Modern Doom Patrol, only really understandable, and you don't need annotations to get it. This book has it all. Great action, great science fiction. It is really fun. I know I keep saying it's fun, but man, that's what it is. It is. It takes unexpected turns and takes you does some unexplainable things that get explained, but very well. I just love this book, Agents of Atlas. I loved the whole composition of the team, which once again is a talking gorilla, a robot, a singing goddess, a man from space, and Namora, including Jimmy Woo, the spy from the FBI. The guy from Uranus is Marvel Boy, and they call the robot the human robot. Can't say enough about this book. This is everything I want in a comic book. It gets 5 out of 5 root beers. It's a complete collection, $39.99 from Marvel. I highly recommend you search out and get Agents of Atlas. You will have a blast. A very different... What? It's time for... I heard the root beer calling me. It's time for a sip of root beer. A very different book is Black Bolt. Now, this is just won an Eisner, and deservedly so. Saladin Ahmed is the writer. Wow. This is an exciting and great Black Bolt that he has written. It involves somehow Black Bolt's powers have been taken from him. He can talk normally, and he's in a prison somewhere. And his prison mate is Crusher Creel, also known as the Absorbing Man. Am I saying that right? I know it's, yeah, Crusher Creel. Known as the Absorbing Man. Here's some of the artwork. But I have to say, in these two books, Black Bolt takes a beating mentally and physically. I feel like Black Bolt has undergone some of the most severe emotional trauma of any Marvel character, not just in this book, but just in general. Some of the most severe mental exhaustion that you can go through. He is driven to the point of madness like several times. And in this book, he is tested beyond his limits because he's met somebody that has imprisoned him for no explanation. There's a very interesting crew cast of characters, including Blinky, this multi-eyed little girl from another planet that's been captured there. And in the second book, he brings her to Earth and kind of adopts her. And he has to deal with his son being a little jealous of that. Black Bolt generally does not like to accept help from anybody, but he is pushed to his mental limits and actually does have to accept help from Blinky and his son. And his son and he have a bit of a reconciliation in this book. I don't think I'm spoiling too much when I tell you that. I don't want to spoil anything, but it also deals with the fact Titania, which is Crusher's wife, how she's dealing with the fact that Crusher didn't come back from the prison. And so that's what a lot of this deals with. She's extremely disappointed and heartbroken that Crusher didn't come back. But this is comics, so you never know what's going to happen. And Black Bolt is forced to kneel at the feet of these other Inhumans that are trying to take over the Inhuman population. And which is, there's a lot of self-reflection by Black Bolt in this book, dealing with his childhood, dealing with his relationship with his son and his marriage, and he gets put through the ringer. But I don't want it to sound bleak because it's very introspective and interesting, and it is excellent. There's a reason why it won an Eisner, and that is because this is one boss book, and I can see why Black Bolt is some people's favorite character. He is really something else in this book. He is the times he's in captivity, you get to hear him speak. You get to see what he's going through mentally, and how he's able to deal with being captured and being in the prison where they are supposed to repent their crimes, and then they end up they're under the death penalty anyway by this nutty jailer. And of course, I hope I didn't spoil anything by showing you that beautiful picture right there of Lockjaw. But he's imprisoned. He gets out of prison. He goes back to Earth. He deals with a couple of crises down there on Earth. And I can see why this book won an Eisner. Top-notch writing. It is something to behold. I read this book, both of these books, in one sitting and came away just enamored of Black Bolt. I mean, I was a fan before, but I'm an even bigger fan now. And as I said, there's a reason this thing won an Eisner. It is some of the best writing you're going to see in a comic book. So I highly recommend Black Bolt to you. That also gets 5 out of 5. That is a definite purchase that if you're an Inhuman fan or just a fan of really well-written comics, you will dig it. I highly recommend Black Bolt, and I highly recommend Agents of Atlas. So until next time, go on out there, get those books, read them, and tell me what you think about them. Until next time, peace and love, peace and love. Enjoy comic books. They're the most fun out there. I love them. So should you.